What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And today is a heavy leg day, this time focusing more on the quads. So I like to start out with the back squat, the regular back squat. I used to start out with the leg extension, but the pump in my legs got so extreme that I was not able to really go super heavy on this one because of the cramps that I got. The pull on the muscle fibers was a little too extreme and I could not focus on doing the weight that I wanted to, so I'm just gonna start out with the squats. And as you can see, starting out pretty light, and this is already 225 pounds or 100 kilos. And I like to go up in increments of 30 kilos or about 70 pounds each time until I get to the really heavy sets. Then I go in increments of either 20 kilos or even 10 kilos because then you're able to get more out of the sets instead of just stopping at a heavy set at a couple of reps. If you go a little lighter, you could have done a couple more reps, fatiguing the muscles even more. So for people who know that they're not very strong at the back squat, just go up in increments of 10 kilos at first and then at 5 kilos later on. But that's if you do the workout like me, and that is only doing 3 basic exercises for the legs. I do 3 exercises for the quads and 3, maybe 4 for the hamstrings on a separate day. And that is why I can afford to do many sets for each exercise. I'm able to put my mind to it a lot more, able to go much more intense than if you would divide it into a lot more exercises. Now you can go very heavy with one exercise and you will target a lot more muscle fibers than if you would only do 3 to 4 sets. You won't be able to get everything out of your muscles. And this is set number 5. It's starting to get a little heavy right now, starting to feel the weight in my back. And as you can see, I'm standing on a plateau with my heels, and that is because I'm pretty tall. And what I notice is that when I go down, the first thing that gives in is my ankle flexibility. And to bypass that, I stand on a plateau like that, a couple of inches high, maybe 2 inches. And that'll help me keep my ankles more stable, and I'll be able to go deeper and get a much better stretch in the quads and better contraction in the glutes, a better contraction in the hamstrings for complete leg development. And I'm also trying to keep my back as straight as possible, moving up and down like a piston, just like Tom Platt says. I'm always having him in my mind when I'm doing squats because he is the master of the golden era squats. Good so. And this is my last set. I always, when you're only doing 3 exercises, like to go to failure on the last set. So I already know that I will go beyond the reps that I'm able to do. On this one, I was able to do 4 reps on my own, I believe, with 190 kilos. I did about 10 reps with 180 kilos before this. So always have a spotter doing the last 2 sets when you know that you're close to failure. And Kane is spotting me right here. And I'm going, quite past failure, a few reps past failure to make sure that I get everything out of the exercise. And that'll give you a much better feeling than a lot of different exercises done halfway. And now I'm doing another type of squat, except I'm standing a little wider and I'm really feeling the inner thighs right now and the hamstrings a little more, also the glutes. And it's just a different angle that I'm targeting with this exercise. Obviously you won't be able to go as heavy now, but this is more about the contraction. And during every rep of my squat, you gotta, maybe it sounds weird, but look at the glutes. Look what I'm doing. I'm thrusting forwards, and that means I'm contracting the glutes because that is one of my weak points attached to the hamstrings. And when you do this, you automatically correct your posture, your form, and you contract the muscle better for more hypertrophy in that muscle region. And you saw the first set that I did was without a plateau, but I noticed I can go a little deeper if I put the plateau under my heels again, even with a wide stance. Especially with a wide stance, because I'm not flexible in the inner thighs at all. So the plateau, if you're tall, trust me, it'll make a big difference. And now this is set number 4. I did 6 sets in total with these squats. Beforehand, I'm not sure how many sets I'll do. I'm just gonna feed it out. If I feel that I'm able to do one more set, even with a couple more clean reps, I will do that. But it starts to get pretty heavy right now. Especially the feeling in the quads is very strong. I fatigued them in the previous heavy squat exercise, and now I'm really starting to feel those deep lines, those deep contractions within the quads, and that makes this exercise a lot more difficult. Now after this set I did 2 more sets, but I did both of them with a spotter, so it couldn't be captured on video. But anyway, just like the first exercise, go beyond failure. And now it is time for the leg extensions. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, some people, and I used to do this as well, start out with a leg extension to warm up the knees. Some people do this because their knees hurt, the joints hurt, but instead of doing the leg extensions, I would advise do 5 minutes on the bike or a treadmill, just to warm up your knees a little bit instead of wasting a lot of the energy on the leg extensions. Because I noticed that starting out with the squat, instead of an isolation movement to pre-fatigue the muscle, you're able to do a lot more weight, you're able to overload the muscle a lot more. And something as basic in a squat, you cannot let anything get in the way of doing the maximum amount of effort you can possibly do. And I'm doing about 5 sets on this leg extension. The last 2 sets are pretty much to failure, can't really go beyond failure. I'm trying to go beyond failure on the last set doing partials, and I'm actually doing partials right here, right now. And this is pretty much beyond failure without a spotter, and that's what I'm advising people to do. Instead of yanking the weight upwards with all their might, just do partials at the bottom to still use the time and retention principle without risking injury on your knees. And this is the final leg extension set. I'm really going all out on this one, using slow negatives at the end, squeezing at the top, and at the very end doing partial reps again to make sure that I hit every single possible muscle fiber and to fill the quadriceps with blood. Now obviously this last set is about twice as light, or a little more, than the previous set. You don't want to do this with a heavy weight, you want to do this with a light weight, so you're able to get much closer to failure rather than giving up a couple of reps before you actually are truly fatigued. And right now I'm doing the partials. You're really feeling the burn right now, and this movement is pumping blood into the quads to finish them off for this workout. And now we move on to some calf raises, and I really love this machine, the seated calf raise, because your whole body moves along with the movement, thus putting more tension on the calves in different ranges of motion, especially at the top. It's fully contracted. Basically the angle in between the calves and the upper leg doesn't really change because it's moving along with the movement. And this first exercise, and I always advise this, to combine a heavy and a light exercise for calves in one workout. This is the heavy one, and I'm really making sure, as I always say, to go all the way down with the calves and all the way up. So when you go down, what you want to feel is a stretch in your shins as also actually, but especially in the calves, of course, that's what you're training. And when you go up, I want you to feel the maximum contraction, you know, the split in between your calves, in your calf muscle in the middle. You want to feel a peak contraction right in there. And you can see that I'm using a pretty heavy weight right now. This calf machine is designed in such a way that it's actually harder than it looks. You also lift a lot of your own weight instead of just the weight that's on the machine itself, because you're pretty much what you're sitting on, you're also pushing that up with your calf muscles. So that's why this is such a good machine. And when we're done with the heavy calf raise, it's time for those details. Normally I would do a lighter calf raise with more reps, but this time we're doing a special edition. Someone who trains at this gym who had very big calves in the past told me to get quality calves you should only, well, you should combine it with the previous exercise, but you should only do the top part of the range of motion. But I repeat, you should only do this when you have quite a lot of muscle in the calves already, so that it'll actually have effect. So when you have decent calves, doing this part of the range of motion, the top part, really contracting it, it'll carve the split in between the calves and create more thickness to the back of the calves, which is exactly what I'm doing. And then we're moving on to the shrugs. We're basically done with legs. I think it took about an hour or so to finish that workout. And then we're doing some heavy shrugs again like the last time. I really love this way of doing shrugs. Go all the way up, as you can see. I'm contracting, squeezing, pushing blood into the trapezius muscle, the biggest muscle on your back for thickness. Then I'm going down, stretching the traps for maximum stimulus to grow. And that was the workout basically. Right here I'm doing some cardio on the bike, level 8, not too heavy but not too light either. Want to keep my heart rate up. Alright, it's time for cardio. As you can see, I'm on the bike right now, just did legs. I'm not going too fast because combining legs with cardio, especially on the bike, might be a little too much. This is more to promote the blood circulation and make sure that my muscle ache will disappear as soon as possible by removing the toxins from the muscle cells. And that's the most efficient way to do when you do some cardio like this, making sure that your circulation is on point. And so what I just did is actually I took my pre-workout, which is Amino Express. I'm going to show that when I'm home, when I'm getting home. It's basically an intra workout slash BCAA supplement. So an intra workout I took. Let me show you. Oops, that's my finger. Let me see. Alright. In here, fill this right up. About 3 scoops of the BCAAs. And it also has a little bit of arginine, a little bit of beta-alanine, stuff like that in it, to make sure you can keep the pump, keep the blood circulation going, and nitric oxide going, opening up the veins, get a better pump, and get a better growth response. And I like doing that when doing legs, because it's pretty hard to get a good pump and contain the pump within your legs, because they're a very big muscle group, basically half of your body. So either you gotta constantly do legs, but I just did squats as you saw. And it's hard to keep the pump when you need 2 minutes rest sometimes, especially during the last set. So and a pump, in my opinion, is beneficial because when you stretch, when you go down, the stretch on the muscles is bigger, and when the stretch is bigger on the muscle fibers, the more effect it will have for hypertrophy. And hypertrophy we need right now to keep the muscles intact when cutting. Because I'm in a competition diet right now, I'm in a caloric deficit still, but I'm still taking use of the rebound. So, you know, feeling pretty full, even on leg day. So I'm happy with the progress. And I just took a carnitine ampule from Scientific Nutrition. A couple of 1,000 milligrams to enhance the burning of the fat just by a little bit during this cardio session, because my stomach is empty right now. Make sure that your stomach is empty. I talked about this earlier. I like to eat about 2.5 hours before going to the gym so that your intra-workout is actually able to be absorbed in your system. Otherwise it will just sit in your stomach and nothing will happen basically. So I'm gonna do this for about 30 minutes until the gym closes, which is in about 15 minutes. And then the workout is done. Representing the muscle army from Scientific Nutrition. Just like that. Awesome supplements, I got everything. Sponsored by them, but I gotta say, I love the products. You basically get a list of the Scientific products, and you get to choose which you want every single month. And there's always something useful. Anyway, I'm gonna go home after this and take my post-workout shake. And if you want to see that video, check this link right here. It's all about talking about competition, my food of the day, and post-workout. So don't forget to stay golden.